So you want to become a hair professional, whether it's a hairstylist or a barber. This is going to be a masterclass in a series on becoming a hairstylist or a hairdresser or a cosmetologist. I have been in the industry for a little over 30 years now, and I went to a cosmetology school. My career is a very, very long up and down journey where I've left the industry, came back, worked for major companies, have my own business, my own brand in the beauty industry, and there's a lot I want to go over. So if you are in school, and chances are if you're watching this, you're pretty much on the fence of, do I go into this career? What do I do while I'm in school, when I graduate? I'm going to cover all of those topics. This is really going to be a deep dive and a series of videos. This is going to be video number 1, which is going to be an introduction to what it's like working in the hair industry or the salon industry. I always refer to it as the salon industry, right? Because we're working in hair salons. But there's a lot of opportunities, especially now in 2024. So this is where you probably will end up working, something like this. Here's a salon chair. I've got, a station here. Believe it or not, when I stopped working in hair salons for other people, I actually had my own space, and I had a 1 or 2 chair little area right where we're standing in through here. And I decided that I want to create my own destiny, right, and take on having my own clientele in my private space. I was seeing private clients, and it was a really amazing opportunity, an amazing experience. I used to get clients from people watching me on my YouTube channel here, people watching me or getting referred from, any sort of publicity, friends, people I've been, doing as clients for a very, very long time. It was my home base. This was a great opportunity for me to see my clients and to run almost like what would be considered today a salon suite. However, my space here is like the size of, it's bigger than most salons, to be honest with you. I have I think it's, 1,800 square foot space or so, 2,000 square foot space. So this is where I do all my production stuff, my content creation, everything happens here. This is my home base right here. Let's get down to the nitty gritty of the industry as a whole. I'm actually sitting down in this chair. I've had celebrities, I've had, really, really great people right here in this chair, and I want to sit down because this is something that really is passionate and very, very important. If you are making a decision, whether it's to leave your current job, maybe you're in high school, you're in, in Votech or something, you're going through a program, you're unsure of what you want to do, you want to make a career change. The hair and the salon industry as a whole, or even as a barber, what I think a lot of people go into it for is the fact that you can change people's lives through your skill. You can make someone look really, really good or really, really bad as far as their hair goes simply with your hands, right? With your artistic ability to create shapes, colors on someone's head and on their hair. So I think that sometimes is a really cool thing that draws people to this industry. Me, for myself, I didn't grow up playing with like doll hair, and I didn't grow up with, it was very different for me. I got into the salon industry because I wanted to be around girls, to be honest with you, when I was younger. I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, I could be around girls and stuff, and and also I didn't know what I wanted to do. After high school, I had, a guidance counselor, or in high school, I had a guidance counselor who was like, oh, your grades aren't good enough to get into this college. So I left I was like a little lost. I felt not sure what I wanted to do. So I was like, oh, I'll take a little bit of a year off. And somehow cosmetology or barbering is somewhat of an easy route, or I would say almost like an easy out to not having to go to college, to say, oh, I'll go into beauty school, or oh, I can make some big cash doing it this way, and I don't have to be that intelligent or to go into the cosmetology school and whatever it is. Like, the pressure is so much less compared to having to go into, and get an Ivy League school, or be like your MBA in business or something. I mean, that's a whole different route. So I think a lot of people sometimes fall back on cosmetology or barbering because they have no other options, right? And that's, unfortunate. Now, there is a large variety of people in the industry, right? What's their education, what's their background, what's their life experiences. Some have a really harsh story, and that's why they went into the industry. Some, brought up in great families, had a great life, great schooling, and they just say, hey, I want to go into this. Maybe I want to be a salon owner one day. So they are thinking more business-minded. And if you're feeling a little bit lost, just understand you are going to be going into an industry that there are a lot of options. There's a lot of options to do very well for yourself, to create a brand for yourself, to really do something that you can really reap the benefits of what you're doing, right? And that's financially, especially. So if you're thinking about going into this career, it's a great career, okay? You learn the art of communication really well, the art of creativity. You learn skills that you can change how people look with your hands using scissors and clippers and color brushes and all sorts of, blow dryers and brushes. I mean, you learn all sorts of interesting things. And I think that's something that's pretty awesome. Now, when you start to understand how you can utilize your skills to make money, and especially nowadays where social media is like one of the biggest driving factors in, creating a clientele and growing your business and getting new clients through, posting all the time, or creating a brand like myself where I have my own hair product company, have over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I've been at this for a very, very, very long time. You can also work for companies like brands. If you have a favorite hair brand, you can become an educator for them. You really can achieve a lot in this industry. And the one thing about hairstylists and barbers and people in our industry is that there's a lot of passion, a lot of love. We all are very emotional people, some extreme, but there's a lot of emotion and passion in what we do and who we are as people. And that can work to our benefit. It can work to our disadvantage at times. It all just depends. But going into this industry, I would say that, there's a lot of great opportunities. Check this out. The good old Shampoo Sink. This is where you send your clients back. Oh yeah, send her back. Get her washed. Get them washed. It's always those famous phrases and sentences. Do this, do that. Send them to the back. Honestly, there's a better way to present that. But overall, this is probably where you're going to be spending a lot of time as a new cosmetologist, a new hairstylist, because there's something called an apprenticeship. And in my opinion, you need to go through being an apprentice, aka an assistant, which is a really, really looked down upon position. It's grunt work. It's stuff that nobody wants to do, but everybody knows the job title of assistant. And I went through a traumatic experience as an assistant, and I think nowadays a lot of people aren't really paying their dues as much. They get out of beauty school thinking, oh, I can do a balayage and charge $300 for that, and I've had my license for a week. There's a lot of, and never worked in salons before. There's a lot of expectations, and that's not really the proper way to go. So if you are in cosmetology school right now, what I would suggest is being an assistant at a salon that you can learn a lot from. When you are looking for a job, and this is a whole part of this discussion of this MasterClass, there's a lot of different levels to this, and I'll try to break this down as best I can. When you're looking for a job, what you need to do is you need to find a location, a hair salon, barbershop, whatever it is, that's successful. All right, a big name place. A place that's got, 15 stylists, 20 stylists, or even 5. But the place is really, really well run, very, very organized. There's an owner who is amazing. They really know what they're doing. You can see the success, a well-oiled machine. There's way too many hair salons that are just a complete hot mess, and I've worked in plenty of them, but there's a lot of places that are just a complete disaster. They put on this facade or this kind of image that they are incredible and, oh, I do this and I'm the owner and I've done that and blah, blah, I'll take care of you. And next thing you know, you're folding towels for 5 years. So there's a lot of empty promises in this industry, but the best bit of advice that I can share with you early on in your career is to find a place to work at that is going to help you grow as a professional. You may find this place and go through cosmetology school, getting your license and all that, and you may end up staying with them and becoming a senior, role in the business, an artistic director, whatever it is, manager. You may actually have a great opportunity because it's such a great organization. And I've seen that all the time. So there are a lot of opportunities, but just don't make the mistake of, just going into any random place. Quick little story. When I had my mentor, and yes, finding a mentor is very important, and it could be something awesome if you can find a mentor. But when I had my mentor early on in my career, he said, I want you to interview 75 salons, and I want you to rate them from 1 to 10. And what you're going to do is you're going to then break it down into the top 5, then the top 2, and then you're going to pick that one, and I'm giving you 2 weeks to do that. I said, are you out of your mind? He goes, there's 25 salons in a 2-mile radius from where you live. I did it because he was my mentor. It was extreme, but I got to see the best of the best and the worst of the worst. There were some salons I rated a 2, some I rated like a 6 or a 7. I went into all the top salons in Manhattan, a lot of salons, in New Jersey, and I saw all of it. And what that did is it expanded my mind to say, oh, well, wow, I didn't realize there's such a difference in how places are run and how people pay and the opportunities in this place compared to this place, and what's it like working in Manhattan compared to New Jersey and this and that. So I got to see a lot. So if you can, make sure you interview a handful of places. Don't just jump to one place. Interview places and see what they have to offer. Make a decision because you want to be happy in the work environment you're in. Now, what I ended up doing, somehow I ended up picking awful places to work at in the beginning. I mean, they were bad for just certain reasons, okay? Were they nice people? Yes. But I went through hell for 3 years working in a variety of salons, and my mentor worked for L'Oreal Professional, and I wanted to be like him in a suit working on beautiful models all day, okay? I wanted to be at a hair show on stage, working around beautiful models, being in a suit, everyone watching and me, talking and speaking and educating, and that was like my dream. And in order to work for that company, I had to have at least 3 years experience in the field working in salons. So that was my kind of apprenticeship and journey to becoming an educator for L'Oreal. In those 3 years, he kind of mentored me. And when I tell you, I worked in some of the places where I would go home miserable. I'd want to cry. Why people would yell at me going, why is there crap stains in a toilet? You're supposed to have those toilets clean. And why is there ashes in the ashtray? And look at these coffee pots. Why is there a stain over there? And I was like, am I a janitor or am I trying to be a hairstylist? So I would go home feeling miserable. I'd feel bullied sometimes by other stylists because they were so mean. And I just was like, I couldn't take it anymore. Until finally, after about, over 3 years of working, and I said, I can't take this anymore. He goes, you're ready. I said, ready for what? And he goes, you're ready. Now you know what not to do. And I was like, what are you talking about? But let that sink in. Now you know what not to do. I had to see the worst of the worst to know what not to do, to know how not to treat people, to know how not to, be in a failing situation, how not to do this, how not to do everything wrong. I saw everything being done wrong. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just need to do the opposite of that. And that was one of the biggest life lessons I've ever learned. And even people that I've had the experience of training and having as people as interns and stuff like that. I would put them through similar situations knowing that, it would be a hot mess. But they had to see the worst of the worst to know what that was like. So that they can start to pinpoint, like, oh, that's going to be a disaster. Oh, that's going to be a hot mess. Oh, look at this. You know what I mean? You have to see the bad sometimes. So you may have to go through a couple of places that are just completely awful in order to realize, like, all right, I've learned what a bad salon's like. I've learned, because a lot of times you don't know. I've worked with people where I work with them, it's their first place, and they get so hypnotized and mesmerized by the owner giving them empty promises that they end up staying there for 4 or 5 years, folding towels and washing hair and doing like one haircut every like 6 months, like as a little special training or something. It's a complete disaster, and that comes from the leadership. That's why you need to work in a place where you have really good leadership and opportunity for growth, a support system. More and more of those places are popping up where the owners are understanding what it's like to be a business owner in modern day, because it's not the easiest, and they understand that people jump around, and most people jump around because they're unhappy and they think they can get something better somewhere else. So there's a lot when it comes to just working your first job, right, or getting your first foot in the door when it comes to the industry. But I suggest doing that as soon as you possibly can. Start learning the art of haircutting, the art of hair coloring, styling. The biggest bit of advice I'm going to tell you is learn as much as you can technically. Learn as much as you can technically, because the better your skills, you will have a line out the door and people will want to come to you. I would have people come to me. I would say my hair cutting is probably my strongest suit, women's hair cutting and stuff like that. Men's hair cutting, I'm great too. But I would have people watch my YouTube videos and literally, make an appointment at the salon I was working at, or even when I was doing clients here, and they would literally fly from across the country for a haircut with me because they just watched what I would do on YouTube, just explaining haircuts, all because of the training I had. So invest in training, invest in educating yourself to be good at whatever it is you want to do. If you don't want to do updos, fine. If you don't want to do hair color, fine. You don't want to do extensions, whatever it is. But if you want to do it all and you want to be really good at everything and really make a lot of money, then educate yourself. Learn how to fade hair with clippers, learn how to do men's haircuts, learn how to do extensions. If I knew how to do a lot of other things, because I stopped doing some stuff I never really actually wanted to learn, but I would be making a lot of money, thousands upon thousands of dollars a week. And there are people doing that. There's heavy hitters. And every time you see in the salon a heavy hitter, they're making a lot of money, right? And that is a matter of opinion on what a lot of money is. But I think nowadays, you could really sustain a pretty good lifestyle with being successful, knowing how to market yourself, and being good at your skills. So go into this industry knowing that there's a lot of opportunity, knowing that it's going to require a lot of work, knowing that you need to find the right place, you need to find some sort of mentor, read a lot of books. A lot of my not mentors, but people I've been influenced by aren't even in the salon industry. There's so many gimmicks and, people in the industry who are just trying to sell you on their product culture and this and that. I would say open your mind and learn from just entrepreneurs. Learn what it's like to be successful. Spend hours on YouTube watching videos on marketing, on social media and branding, all that stuff. Watch some of my stuff. Look what I've done. If you want me to give you some sort of advice and be somewhat of a mentor, reach out to me. Follow me on Instagram, TheSalonGuy. You can even leave a comment here. But if you want to really connect with me, I would say following me on Instagram is probably the best way, because that's where I can communicate better, voice messages, things like that. But I think finding some sort of role model is going to be really good. So now that you have a better understanding and the scope of what this industry is like, dealing with people all day, it's a lot. There's a lot to it. And I actually retired from seeing clients. Very happy about that, and it was a tough decision, but I had to do it because I have another business, right? My main business. It was eating into my other business. It wasn't, the money couldn't even compare to my main business. And, I retired basically. If I were to go back to doing haircuts, I would be charging $300 a haircut. And that doesn't even excite me. That doesn't even make me want to cut hair anymore. So I left at about $150. Well, actually, yeah, $150 a haircut. And that's when I was like, I should be charging more. So, and I had people coming in all the time. But anyway, this is the the first part of this series. The next part is going to be more in depth about hair cutting. I'll go over some hair coloring, and as we progress, I'll go over communication skills. I'm probably going to phase this out as we go along, so the next video will probably be a bit more about becoming an assistant and what that entails and how you could be a really successful assistant, and more of like what you should be doing in a training program or apprenticeship training program and all that. So they'll be like, you're in a salon and you're working. Like, what should you be doing and how to be successful with that? This video and this masterclass series is really targeted towards professionals, right? It's nothing to do with, can you do the latest Indian celebrity? I have no interest in doing that. I want to really communicate with people who are going to value what I have to say as a professional for over 30 years, and I hope that you enjoy this. And please let me know in the comments below where you're at in your industry, in your career. Okay, so I want to connect with you all. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it helps someone, and I'll see you in the next episode.